What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back to Touchdown Kingdom, the home of all the latest NFL news and content. Over this last week or two, one of the biggest topics in the NFL world is the destination of all-pro wide receiver Deandre Hopkins. With the Cardinals surely going into a rebuilding year, there is speculation of where D-Hop would play in 2023 with many trade rumors. However, it turns out no team was willing to give up any capital to take on Hopkins' massive $30 million contract. Something important to note while going into this is that while Hopkins is still a great wide receiver, he is not immediately going to return to his all-pro years, and his contract will most likely reflect that. I believe it would be similar to Odell Beckham's contract, with a higher base salary with many incentives to earn more money with good statistical production. In this video, we will be going over the 5 teams with the highest betting odds to land Hopkins, whether it's a good or bad fit, and how likely it is to happen, and one surprise team I think could land Hopkins if they dish out a contract large enough. The first team is the Buffalo Bills, and they are tied with another team for the highest odds to land Hopkins. The Bills do not have much wide receiver depth behind Diggs, and while there was a lot of hype for Gabe Davis going into last year, he did not meet expectations. I think that this Bills team would be a great fit for Hopkins, as he would be the number 2 receiver behind Stephon Diggs, and defenses would not be able to hone into one or the other, allowing them to both get single coverage looks. We also saw last year how, although the Bills were very good, they need more firepower on offense to hit their Super Bowl goals that they've fallen short of the past 3 seasons. They don't have much cap space, so they would have to restructure some contracts in order to make it happen, but I do think this is the most likely landing spot for Hopkins, and that he would love to play alongside Diggs and Allen in Buffalo while adding another dimension to their passing attack. The second team is the Kansas City Chiefs with plus 400 odds to land the star wide receiver. In many situations, I don't agree with the betting odds, but here I do, for both the first and the second spot. Diop has expressed that he wants to play with a contender and a solid QB and front office, and both the Chiefs and the Bills are at the top of the league in this category. On the Chiefs, Hopkins would be their number 1 wide receiver, however, he would be their number 2 receiving option behind Travis Kelce. I think this would be an incredible pairing, as Hopkins on the outside would give Kelce space to work on the inside, and vice versa. Although we say how well Mahomes played last year without a true number 1 wide receiver on the outside, it would not hurt to give the best player in football another incredible weapon to work with. The Ravens follow the Chiefs with plus 650 odds to sign DeAndre Hopkins, and I also think this makes sense, as there were rumors the Ravens would trade for him before the cut that never happened, and although they signed OBJ and drafted Zay Flowers, there is still room for another receiver in the locker room. Rashad Bateman has potential, but has been injury prone, and I'm sure that there is a lot the young receiver could learn from being behind 2 great veteran wide receivers. After the Lamar Jackson extension, it is important to surround him with weapons that will allow him to return to his MVP form, and in a new offensive system where, according to Lamar, he will be passing more often and said he's looking for, quote, 6,500 yards. D-Hop would be a great fit into the new passing offense designed by Todd Monken, and he would give Lamar a true wide receiver 1, which he has not had for his entire career thus far. The team with the 4th highest odds to sign Hopkins are the New York Jets at plus 700. They have what Hopkins is looking for in a great defense, the opportunity to compete, and a great quarterback. However, they have also signed 3 wide receivers this offseason, and with the signing of Hopkins, would have a wide receiver payroll that goes 7 spots deep. While I think it would make sense for the Jets to pursue him to make the Super Bowl dream even more possible, the Jets have still yet to sign Quinnen Williams to an extension, which will surely cost them over $24 million a season, and I think that this move makes much less sense than the other 3 previous teams. The last team on this list is the New England Patriots with plus 900 odds to land Hopkins, and while it's less likely than the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens, I think it would be a better fit for the roster than the Jets. Without putting any of these players down, I don't think any team wants to go into the season with a wide receiver room of Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker, and Tyquan Thornton, and while they may prove us wrong, there is definitely an incentive to go out and get DeAndre Hopkins to give the offense more firepower. Also, this is most likely the last year that Mac Jones will be automatically thrust into the starting role, and he will have to prove himself as a franchise QB to the Pats moving forward. And historically, giving young quarterbacks a star weapon has tremendously helped their growth. such as AJ Brown to the Eagles or Stephon Diggs to the Bills. While Mac Jones is unlikely to make such a jump, it would make sense for the Patriots to throw money at Deandre Hopkins in order to help boost their wide receiver room up from near the bottom of the league. The Patriots may not be as much of a contender as Hopkins would like, but I'm sure they would offer him a hefty contract and give him the solid front office that he is looking for. A surprise team that is vastly underrated in the Hopkins sweepstakes are the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers just traded their top wide receiver along with many other draft assets to move up in the draft to select Bryce Young, and they would be doing him a disservice to reward him with Adam Thielen as their number one wide receiver going into next season. In order for this move to happen, the Panthers would have to restructure a lot of deals or go over the salary cap because they would certainly have to give him a higher salary than the other teams. However, as mentioned before, we have seen how having a true wide receiver one can influence a young quarterback's growth, and Hopkins has already helped another young quarterback in Deshaun Watson into immediate stardom. The Panthers have many pieces on the roster and added many serviceable players into their offense and defense, but are missing a dynamic playmaker that Hopkins could be for them. And I think it would be a fantastic move for their GM Scott Fitterer to go out and show that he is willing to put pieces around Bryce Young for immediate NFL success. These are how we view the top landing spots for Deandre Hopkins, along with one unlikely team that should definitely throw their hat into the ring. Let us know down in the comments if you disagree about anything we said here, or more teams that could possibly be even better fits than those discussed. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new here and enjoyed the video. We appreciate all the continued support, and we'll see you next time here at Touchdown Kingdom.